Hello and welcome to another MTD podcast on the road with MTD CNC. This is an Uncut podcast which we release every Friday evening at 6 o'clock. Last week's one was actually on Sunday, but we've now brought this forward thanks to popular demand. Now, throughout this show, we're going to be talking about what we've been up to this week, what technology we've seen, also where we're going to be travelling to in the week ahead. Lots to come in this show. And today I'm joined by Gio and Colin. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jones.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jones. Can I just clarify something now? You said it's uncut. Friday, 6 o'clock, you're going to be half cut, aren't you?
Possibly, especially with the sun shining like it is today. What beautiful weather. Absolutely. I mean, not very hot, but it's been pretty sunny, isn't it? I suppose you've been pushing the pram round.
I have actually, Paul. It's
you left the kid at home, but
I took off Monday and Tuesday off work, and it was the first time we ventured out to have a meal outside, and it was absolutely brilliant, really nice.
Pasta?
No, actually, it wasn't. What did I have? I had a chicken Caesar salad both days.
Really? Oh,
yeah, nice though.
Colin, first time I've seen you or been on a podcast with you since, probably for a good few months. You've been keeping all right?
I went out for a nice meal with myself. It was very good.
I'm still single then?
Yeah, absolutely. So any ladies out there, don't bother.
How's things been with you, throughout this coronavirus? Have you been keeping all right?
Yeah, been, doing exercise, obviously. Quite clearly not. The camera never lies. So, but I did buy a new one of those turbo trainer bike things. It was absolutely fantastic. Haven't taken out the box yet, but it's a great purchase.
Is that one of the ones where you hook up to your back wheel and the as the hill goes up, it does stiffen up the
it does, yeah, interactive, I think is the word, Paul, interactive. So, yeah, and it's bloody hard. And you start a race with 200 people. So far, I've come 200th every time.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really, really bad at it.
I did used to have one. I used to have a B-call, actually, but then I moved up to the Peloton, which I enjoy as an experience.
Everybody in the office is now going, what an absolute... So
how are you going to enjoy the sunshine this weekend then, Colin?
I'm going down to the pub and going to be hungover all day tomorrow, so I'll probably stay at the house.
Gio, we're out tomorrow for a glass of wine.
Yeah, can't wait. Yeah, looking forward to a little bit of a gathering.
Some sort of date, outside. Is it, boys? Is it?
Yeah, so
something's happened over lockdown then.
No, it'd be good. Sit out on the terrace, have a glass of wine. Looking forward to it. Okay, what a week it's been at MTD CNC. We've, I certainly would say to start this off that we're seeing a massive change in how, engineers are opening their doors and spending money, and it's like the apprehension has almost gone away, isn't it? Would you agree with that, Colin?
I'm not sure I'm apprehensive about that one, Paul. No, I'll tell you what, you speak to them, they're all busy, and it's absolutely crazy. Machine tool suppliers, they're almost... the green shield stamp or whatever it was, that ship that got blocked up, that's going to cause issues because machine tool suppliers can't get enough machine tools at the moment, if I can say it properly. But they're all busy. I think a lot of people are reshoring. It's not just because of quality overseas, because people say Chinese quality and stuff like that is improving massively. It's just they want UK produced just to get the lead times and everything like that.
I think it's a big thing that we've suffered from, because what we've gone through and I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I think that really we want to be more self-sufficient now, don't we? I know we probably mentioned this last week, Gio, but I'm hearing that so much. If we can make it here now, we will. If we can buy a product from here, we will. Let's just hope that lasts, because there have been some predictions that if you follow our MFG channel, our manufacturing channel, I think Stuart put a post out this morning, didn't he, Joe? It said that manufacturing's best it's been since 1971 or something.
I believe it was 1974. There's never been such optimism in UK.
Just to clarify, it wasn't before Colin was born. I was going strong by then, just to clarify.
Yeah, a long time before then. But 1974, never been as much optimism in UK manufacturing. I think touching upon what you've just said, Colin, I think we touched upon it slightly last week, but you mentioned before that it was so hard to get any gym equipment. It's so hard to get,
look at the state of herself.
It's so hard to be buying stuff at the minute. The lead times are so far up the road, and I think by us now investing in new technology to become more competitive globally, it's a massive opportunity for the UK to start making our own products, selling to ourselves, but then selling to the rest of the world, rather than what we've been doing for such a long time. And I think that, the optimism is fantastic. It's great news.
Couple of shout outs. As I say, we do this every week, and if you want to get in contact and want to be broadcast on this show, then just let us know. Andy Seuss, popular listener of ours, wanted a shout out. Also,
Can I just say Andy Seuss? Just to do you shout out? I'll mention him later.
Dave from JSI. We've also had Bob from Trent Sousey. Shout out. I probably need to just check that company name, but and Adrian from the Allen Group says, my wife wants me to stop listening to MTD. So that's always good.
What's the reason why she wants him to stop listening?
Well, I don't know. She's probably
consuming too much.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Time or learning things from you that are incorrect. Right.
Wow.
Okay, so
where
did we start this week then? I know on Monday we had 2 really good visits in the diary. I was at one of them, but we'll talk about the other one first, which was Colchester Machine Tools. Lindsay and Ian were at Colchester Machine Tools on Monday looking at an automation solution on a laser marking machine. Colin, you know a bit more about this one, don't you?
Absolutely. I mean, have you ever seen people doing that laser etching? It's such a manual, not laborious, but mind-numbing, I would say, just putting those parts in, lasering it, take it out. So it's a great way. Automate. I mean, we talk about automation all the time on your machine tools, with lathes, mills, whatever. Absolutely perfect for automation. Get your robot arm in there, unloading. They've got a pallet system in there. And we were discussing, it was off camera, off mic, traceability as well these days. They want the traceability, so having that laser etching, absolutely perfect. The ROI on this, I don't want to steal too much of Lindsay's thunder,
because the video will come on the channel.
Absolutely, but they've got the pallet load on there, so it's perfect for that automation with the robot. The ROI, we all know what ROI is, don't we?
Republic of Ireland.
Is it? Oh, I thought this is absolutely phenomenal. But guess what? Watch this video. It's coming very, very soon.
Okay, I mean, you used to be in the aerospace sector, didn't you, Gio? You had a lot of involvement, and I know traceability.
It was taking off, wasn't it?
It's hopefully going to take off again soon as well. Yeah, I think traceability is one of the main aspects of aerospace, especially for critical parts. I think that traceability is key, and I think to be able to simplify that process, which they're doing, and I think that. It's something, I think we did touch upon it again recently. It's something that's overlooked a little bit, and everything that we're doing now, all these new technologies that we keep discussing, it's all about improving efficiency as well, making things faster.
We
keep thinking that'll be a first, both at the same time.
The laser etching, to me, there's not many companies that are doing it. If you can count on one hand places that you've seen that have got these machines, there's very few.
Yeah, I think what I'd like to start seeing it being done on the machine tool in process. I think that could be a nice little touch there.
Well, Andy Susi mentioned, massive fan of his new DMG model. I'll come to that later, but he just posted something where he's got easy to control and program, doing etching on his nuts.
Good question. Why wouldn't it be done on the machine?
Not sure.
I suppose it's another process, isn't it? If you've got to move it across.
But you could have kind of a tool that comes in your carousel with that in, I would assume.
Speed?
I don't know. Not sure.
I mean, these things mark them pretty quickly.
But if it's etching, each part is going to have its own number. So if you're doing it on a machine tool, you're going to have to change a program every time for each number. I mean, I'm not an expert. Does that make sense?
It's a really good point.
Thank you. There you go.
There must be a way around it, I would assume. But I don't know. There must be like a counting system that it can kind of,
What I can say is that I know Colchester Machine Tools have been involved in this market for some time, and it's a big push for them. And to have this automation with it, I'm sure they're going to do well with it. So that's a video coming to the channel in the coming days. Also on Monday, I was at Manufax with Chloe, a company in Stockport. What I find really fascinating about what we do is that as you move north, right, as the further north you go, and I'm sure you can appreciate this. It gets colder, but also the machine shops tend to get bigger. And machines tend to get bigger, the parts get bigger, and it's
oil
just
and gas.
I mean, it's pretty obvious, isn't it, I suppose, but it's heavier industry up north. And this company, Manufax, some of the work that they were doing, we were talking about castings that were, tons and tons in weight being machined on this Courier Axia travelling column machine. And what we learned about here, and certainly from doing it with Chloe, was how the box-in-box construction, which I've talked about a few times actually on machines, has got a real benefit to machining. Now, with the box on this Courier Axia, basically this ram can extend kind of like almost like 2 meters out on the Z-axis. On the Y-axis it would be. We were talking about axes earlier, but on the Y-axis extension on the ram. And there's no droop. You know, if you would imagine, you would look at this a ram as it extends, and you'd be thinking to yourself, my God, that surely at that end, wherever you're machining, if you're taking deep cuts, you're gonna get some form of deflection or some form of droop. But with the box construction, because it's like a tunnel, it's like the grob where it buries the spindle in the tunnel, it means you've got complete security around that ram. But what it also means is that you can machine bi-directionally, which is a term I know you'll be familiar with.
Settle down.
You can machine one way up a casting, so the X-axis. On these travelling column machines, they're basically the bed is fixed into the ground and the column just moves in the X-axis left to right. And normally what you'd do is you'd machine your heavy machining one way, you'd come back and you'd do another pass if you wanted heavy machining, because the machines aren't capable of doing the pass back in the other direction with the same cut depth, because the way the rams are built. And this is actually very true, but the Courier machine is good at bi-directional machining on the X-axis, thanks to the box.
When you say bi-directional, going backwards and forwards,
basically.
So it's a posh way of saying backwards and forwards.
But I prefer the term.
Can I throw in there very, very quickly? Someone's come to me during the week, MTD Network, and you say about big machining and things like that. And I don't know if anybody can help. This is a shout out to all you people out there. Basically, they've got a big billet. I think it's about 40. It's a big old billet. Well, it's not billet. It's a great big lump of metal.
Millimeters.
But no, 400. I think it's 400 mils, and it's like a massive donut. Calm down, Paul. Basically, their furnace broke, and they've got this great big lump of metal, and they can't. It's 60 Rockwells. They can't cut it, so they need someone to cut it. So if anybody out there can help with either a massive saw or potentially seriously, if you're not going to be serious about this, I'm going. So I'm going home. But if somebody can help with that, I'm dead serious. I've got the pictures. It's just brilliant.
Okay, great. Also, point to make the MTD Network part of one of MTD's channels. If you are an engineer that's looking to expand your horizons, win new business, expose your company, then the MTD Network is the perfect place to do it.
I've got some MTD Network stuff to come to in a minute. Can I quickly interject that as well?
Go for it.
I don't know what that means. That's why I want to interject and find out what that actually means. No, joking aside, great news this week, and I think you guys already know, we've just taken on board, drum roll, bread roll, Bystronic.
Okay.
Absolutely fantastic company. Just looking at machines, you look at them and they're easy on the eye, fantastic, but press brakes, lasers, bending, tube cutting, fantastic company. Looking forward to getting them out.
It'd be good to see their content on there. It's an area of industry where we don't do as much with, where we should, and I'm sure we will do in time. And I think what I take from your points is you're right. It's going to be good content to see, but also the fact that we've seen, as we talked about earlier, the industry getting busier. Though it's almost like even coming to MTD now. You know, we've gone through a restructure in the last sort of 6 to 8 months, where we've done a few things differently in the business. But we've noticed now inbound inquiries in the last few weeks have been unlike they've been for a long time to start marketing again. And I think that's, probably like the Bystronic that we're doing. We've got a suite of videos coming up with Haas that we've just commissioned as well. So there's plenty of new stuff coming to our channel, which is going to be...
Podcast demand has gone through the roof.
Podcast demand like these. What about 5,000 listens per podcast?
It's crazy, but that's not just in the UK, around the world.
Yeah,
our podcasts are kind of, we are kind of, reaching far ashore.
We've got someone to do translations for us as well, into English for you two.
I've got the Tony Gunn Show, Show, which is part of the MTD global side as well. So plenty to listen to and plenty to watch. Okay. Also this week we hosted the SECO ITI live event, which are always good. They get a lot of numbers to those as well, don't they? But I suppose some of the machining strategies they discuss are in demand. People are looking to cut parts faster, and I think this one was specifically about medical. And I think it was a really interesting show. And I think if you go onto the SECO website, you can actually you can log in and actually watch that show as it unfolded over the 2 days. Lindsay was also at Dugard on Wednesday, and they were filming machines that they've got in stock, which is really interesting. I hate using the same words all the time, but it is interesting to hear of a company that is carrying stock machines at the moment, because one of the things I'm hearing on frequent occasions is the fact that if companies could supply the machines faster, they would get more out there, because the demand is there. But like you say, the actual machines coming in for stock are being held up for the reasons that we know with Brexit, or even what you mentioned, Colin.
The big tanker.
Big tanker.
Was it? I can't remember. It was green something or other, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You don't know, do you?
Sure, it was caught up in the Suez Canal, wasn't it?
That's right.
But Dugard have got Kitamura machines there. They've got this little Medcentre, which is a brilliant little machine. It's so nimble. It sits in almost like a metre in width and sort of just over a metre, and it's probably bigger than that. But in depth, when you look at it, it's tiny, and it's a small 5-axis machine, unbelievably fast. Called the Medcentre, it's perfect for the medical industry. But just another statement really from Dugard and Kitamura about the products that they are really doing well with. I mean, the Kitamura, different brand in it, Gio. It's fantastic.
Yeah, hand scraped machine tools, very high end, very fast. I think that when we look at productivity, they're probably right up there for a productive machine. And I think that you mentioned there that it's been specifically designed for the medical industry. We've seen a lot more of that as well now. I think applications are demanding that they have the right machine tool for it, that lend themselves specifically for that application to get the very best efficiency. To create them parts in the most efficient way.
You say that, though. It's almost a contradiction in some sense, isn't it? Because we always talk about, and we said this last time around, people want flexibility. So they do want these machines, but they want them to be able to do everything.
Diversify and specialise, which is an oxymoron. No,
I think that you've got. It depends the nature of the work, the nature of the business. If you're making your own product, if you know that part is going to be repeating and you're going to be making it every single day, then you need to invest in a specialist machine for that particular product.
But that's something we covered off at the Citizen Live event, because they've got the Solution Centre down in Bushy near Watford. I hate saying Watford because I'm a Luton fan, but that's another story. But they've got, they keep your spindles turning, they get a solution in-house, and they've got the fixed head machine. I can't remember which one it was, I do apologise, but they've got the robot arm loading it, but it doesn't stop machining. The way they've set it up, it's got a mandrel, as Paul says, or a mandrel, and this machine, so it's specific for this application. But he said, we bought this for this application, but it also gives us that flexibility as well. So it's like you're specialising, but you're diversifying.
Yeah, you want the best of all worlds, don't you?
I do, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that was. They also looked at the Schmeck machine, some of the large turning centres. And if you've never come into, well, if you've never seen a Schmeck machine, they are very, very solid. Big box guideway construction. Some of these machines, 15, 18-inch chunk machines, and they're delivering them to subcontract engineers and have been throughout the pandemic. And it just shows, that there is a demand not just for the smaller commodity stuff, but for the big machine tools as well. Okay, so that happened on Wednesday. On Thursday as well, we had myself and Chloe had a really good visit to Hyfore Workholding.
Hold on, I was going to do my gag there. Hold on. No, okay. I'll get my coat.
Yeah, Hyfore produce fixtures and bespoke fixturing, but they also supply standard product. And the bespoke fixturing side is really their specialist subject. And I was talking to the guys there, and we were trying to find out what goes into, and I know you've got a lot of experience in this, Gio, so I'm sure you'll contribute in a minute, but what goes into making a good quality fixture? What are the areas that you have to focus on? Is it, I know it's obviously how you hold the part, but it's getting to the machining access, being able to load and unload quickly, the security of the component, isn't it? And all of these things take real expertise.
Yeah, for me, I think that when you look at designing a specialised fixture, you need to start with the number one, the component, and then as silly as it sounds, but then you need to look at the machine tool that component's going to go onto. Then you want to kind of look at utilising that machine envelope. So say, for example, if you can present more than one component to that spindle, then in that specialised fixture, that would be a good thing to do. Then you've got to look at the operational sequence. How many operations can you actually get this component done on? So let's assume it was going on to an horizontal machine and you were designing a column. You can potentially have 4 faces on that column. You can potentially have 3 or 2. And you mentioned kind of clearances. Some of the columns will have a hole straight through that clearance, so you can actually then get to the back end of the component from one side, if that makes sense. But then with some of these specialised fixtures, they are automation ready, if you like. You want to achieve a stable process, so they're hydraulic or in most circumstances or pneumatic. And I think that once you've designed it, that component's got to pull back onto given datum points to give it that security and to eliminate any vibration is the biggest thing for me.
Can I ask a question? Because you sound like very knowledgeable, you two, and I'm sitting here thinking, I haven't said anything at the moment. But are they 3D printing stuff? Because we're in one place where they're doing the fixturing and they're actually 3D printing some of the parts because of it might have been a hydraulic or pneumatic, and to get that the flow through.
They could do if they needed to. I think the big thing with Hyfore is they lean on their skills of their guys to be able to come up with, whether it be 3D printed parts that are put onto a fixture. But they've got guys there. You look at some of the machinery; it's quite dated. They've even got Giddings and Lewis machines and things that go back for many years. And you look at them and you think to yourself, that is a really old machine, but it serves a purpose and it's highly accurate. And you need machines that are very, very versatile, that can do all kinds of machining operations. So, and they also have a range of standard products, which is going to be popular for them. They've got these, those pin work holding vices.
Oh, fantastic!
Is that like the ones where you the toys where you put your face?
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. I think that
I'm going to take your face there next time, put it in it and see what...
Not a problem, mate. You can machine away.
It wouldn't be very nice on the eye, but I think that the standard products...
Let's rewind that there, Gio. There's going to be a brawl in this studio in a minute.
The standard products will kind of suffice a certain kind of... standard work holding products will suffice a certain amount of componentry, a lot of prismatic parts, round parts. But when you start looking at castings especially, or very irregular shaped parts, very complex parts, 3D parts, these parts are don't really lend themselves to standard work holding because of how you've got to hold them. And these are where bespoke fixturing comes into its own, but not just for that them parts. Bespoke fixturing could be, for what we mentioned as well, presenting more components to the spindle in a very clever way is another way of...
This was exactly the reason they have had a tremendous
increase
in time in work in recent months at Hyfore, down to this, to almost re-looking at how you're making parts. Do I need another spindle? Or can I improve the output of the spindle that I've got? And if I can, is fixturing a part of that? So there is possibilities of getting more out of your current machine. And they've been having along with ETG and along with most companies. In fact, I wanted to mention, you talked about Citizen. I was talking to Steve Totti from Star yesterday. They've had a phenomenal first quarter.
Yep.
And I'm sure lots of machine tool companies have. One that if he'd have seen 6 months ago he was going to have, he would just be so pleased about.
It's absolutely crazy the amount of demand for the machines at the moment.
It's just brilliant to hear. And I asked him, I said, is it down to the fact that your machines are now more versatile? They're going into different marketplaces. And it's hard to actually quantify what the reasons are. I mean, obviously, Star's support and service and their engineering expertise is always a big part of the sale, but it really was good news to hear. And also what we like to do on this show, there is actually Star are looking for a sales guy at the moment, if anybody's out there is interested.
Okay, who do I need to contact?
But have to have certain qualifications.
Not a problem with that at all. I can forge any CV, don't you worry.
But it is a great company, and I know the vacancy won't be around for long. It's an area sales manager in the Midlands area. So if anybody is looking at going to a professional business that sells top quality kit and supports it very well, then it's a great opportunity.
You say about so I want to move on to Citizen very quickly because we did a live event recently. You talked about it last week. I want to pull Gio up on axes, and we were talking off mic on that one because you said that the Z axis was moving on a fixed head machine, which we were trying to work out. I know this is a podcast, so you can't see my hands waving around like Magnus Pike. Show my age there, guys. But the Z is where the spindle's moving, so you could pick the part off. So, but it was the X axis that's moving. So that was moving plus.
Yeah, that was the axis that gives you the capability to do superimposed machining and cut that third face.
Superimposed machining actually can be 2 faces, 3 faces, or 4 faces. But watch your space. I'm going to do something about that in due course. So moving on.
It's a bit like a newspaper where at the bottom you put in the credits. You say, "Sorry, we made a mistake on the last one." And
Is it an addendum? Can I say addendum
I
or
don't
an
know.
apology?
I don't think I did make a mistake. I'm going to have to re-listen to that.
I'm not saying you made a mistake. I'm just saying you were wrong.
We were also at Mitutoyo. Lindsay and Mark were at Mitutoyo yesterday.
And GOM.
Two more to talk about.
They both measure up nicely. Don't they?
Let's start with Mitutoyo because this is a real household name, isn't it? We all remember the old vernier
verniers,
calipers
yeah,
and all of that kit. They're really trying to now. I wouldn't say relaunch because how can you relaunch a brand that's big? But I think they're trying to publicise what they do in a modern way.
Trying to rejuvenate the brand, aren't they? I can remember when I finished my apprenticeship, my boss at the time, brought me over a little box, says, "There you go, mate, well done," and it was a Mitutoyo vernier.
Well, shouldn't you have had that at the beginning of the training so you can measure your parts? It's no good at the end.
Well, it was a new one. I did have one,
okay.
but it was my
digital.
own.
Was it a digital reader?
It was actually, yeah.
Did you ever use the proper vernier calipers?
Yes, yeah. I used micrometers as well, imperial and in
What,
metric.
as a spanner?
As a what you could
Wedging
call
the
it,
door
as a
open.
clamp.
Oh, blimey. Oh, poor
As a
Mark, who
G-clamp.
looks after Mitutoyo, is rolling his eyeballs and shaking his head right now. But it's the first time Mark's been there. Is that correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
I believe so. I'm really looking forward to actually seeing some of the products that they are bringing out to
They
the
do a
market.
lot more than just verniers.
How many
now,
products
yeah.
have they got? I know the answer, so that's
I
a
know the
rhetorical
answer.
question.
If it's rhetorical, then give us the answer.
Oh, I don't know what rhetorical means. I've got that wrong then. No, I'm joking. 5,000 products.
5,000
There
products.
you go. So we're doing a video on every one. Don't tell Mark, but he's going to be very busy.
And I'm sure if he did, they would be very good because I know that the Mitutoyo brand, as I say, is really
fantastic.
held in high esteem. Gio, before I ask you about GOM, because I know it's fascinating and interesting, I'm going to ask Colin a question that I asked you last week.
Oh, God.
What do you think is going to happen with house prices in the next 6 months?
As a homeowner, I hope they go up. And as you know, I'm well educated with my economics degree. If I knew that, mate, I wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be investing in the right property and then sitting on the beach in Barbados. I don't know. I think it's massively actually, I'm going to take a step back, massively overinflated. Why? You're not paying stamp duty, so you're saving yourself, say, $5,000, but your house price has gone up $20,000. It just doesn't, it's crazy. And the mortgage supplies, you've got the government scheme, 5%, but you have to go through absolute hoops to get a mortgage at the moment. I think there's going to be a big fall off at some point in the not too distant future. Don't quote me on that. This is not advice. This is purely my opinion. But I'm about to go to the.
And I completely agree with Colin on
Go
that.
on, outnumbered on this one.
I tell you what. One thing actually, they predicted that the economy was going to drop by 10%, 12%, something like that. And it's not as bad as they predicted. And I mean, our industry, we've just been talking how positive our industry is, engineering and everything else, but they're saying it's not that bad. The economy, COVID, the economy's dropped, GDP's down, blah, 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 whatever. It's not that bad, but it is still quite bad. It's like saying, my house is burnt down, my garden's burnt down, but I've got a few daffodils left. It's still quite bad. I mean, we're very fortunate. We're very, very fortunate that the...
That's the worst analogy I think I've ever heard.
We're very, very fortunate that the engineering industry is doing so well in comparison to different sectors.
I want to move you on. I've got a question. Go on.
I'm just going to say, in addition to Gio's point there, there's 2.7 million people employed in manufacturing. It must be more than that, actually, isn't there? I think so, about 2.7, but it's still a lot. But the average salary is £32,500 in manufacturing.
Can't pay rise.
No, which I thought was,
it's decent.
It's a decent salary. So that's
I think
good to hear.
average is $28,000
Is that right?
across the whole.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about gross domestic product earlier as well.
GDP.
What was that?
You didn't even know what that meant. GDP.
Well, no, I know.
How much a country's producing?
Yeah, no. I was going to say gross international product. That's what you are.
Oh my good lord, awful.
You
But
can ask your question.
my question, and this is back to engineering, right? Rotec, we go out and see them a lot. D&G Mori, I tell you what, I look after MTD Network, so engineers, we promote them and do their stuff. Every other one has got getting a DMG Mori. I've put out there, right, Conrad Nurch from Nurch Precision just got a DMG Mori. Your mate Andy Seuss, I said we come back to it, he's just got a DMG Mori. Cutting Blue, guess what? Just got a DMG Mori. Okay, they're the 5-axis machines, but I saw Rotec have just got one, and it's the, let me get this right, the NT 4300, which is your turn mill. So
know it well. That was the machine that the Interco project
okay,
was.
so that's got your spindle, but it's also got your B-axis, I'd say on a knuckle, correct me if I'm wrong, but then why would you go that? My question is, why would you go that as opposed to a fixed head with twin turrets, for example?
The specific machine you're talking about is a real animal. That was the machine that, and you can see this on our channel now, the Interco documentary which Gio did about cutting, was it 718?
Yeah, Alloy 718,
Alloy
which
718.
is referred to in our industry really as Inca now. 38 Rockwell.
And if you want to watch and learn, that is a video to learn about. But the machine was obviously an integral part of that, and that was one of these DMG Mori NT 4300s, which has got the milling head, and it's got two powerful spindles.
Sorry, I didn't see this 2 spindles.
So you've got 2 spindles, but you can have it with one as well. So you could have it just 1 spindle. That machine is like, you imagine a horizontal machining centre.
Yep. Hold on.
Got it?
Done it. Yep.
Yeah. So you imagine a horizontal machining centre and a lathe, and basically the horizontal bolted onto the back of the turning centre.
Yep.
A lot of companies supply turning centres with turrets with mill drill function, and they might produce 5 or 6 kilowatts of power.
Okay.
You know, you're going to be able to machine flats. What flat is?
That's where I live.
Yeah. They're going to be able to machine flats, they're going to be able to drill holes, but what they're not going to be able to do is exactly what we saw at Interco, which was cut like 718. And the reason that machine can handle it is because it's got the capabilities of a horizontal machining centre coupled with a powerful turning centre. It's like, I'm trying to think of the analogy someone told me the other.
Well, it's like you and me
fusing together.
You're like 7 kilowatts. I'm like 15 kilowatts.
Yeah.
As he smashes the desk up.
It's like fusing together a very heavy duty, powerful lathe and a horizontal machining centre, and that is the end. And you buy those machines because you want to eat material. Okay. I don't mean that in the literal sense. You want to really machine it very, very hard.
So both very capable styles of machines, but
put together,
different applications.
And that's a box-in-box construction. That horizontal is that.
We keep hearing that a lot. That box-in-box, Paul. It's something that we should maybe do a real technical video on that, just on that, because it'd be educational for a lot of our audience.
Talking of boxing, that's on tomorrow night as well. If any, just plug in Sky. By the way,
is
I'm
that
on
Parker? Parker, is it?
Chisora, I can't remember. Anyway, moving on swiftly. Come on.
Tell us about GOM.
Yeah, I mean, wow, this is really interesting. I'll try not to go on too long, but it's really difficult not to. But we are all guilty in engineering, or have been. That
I was found innocent.
That we look at production and we look at inspection as 2 separate entities, and we look at the production as the part that makes money, and we look at the inspection and metrology as the part that kind of costs money. And when you look at budgets, we think, right, we'll spend a big budget on the machine tool, but we won't spend as much on the metrology. And it's a cardinal sin. I think that also the communication within...
Like going out with a nice pair of shoes in a dirty suit.
Exactly. Perfect analogy.
Paul, you've never done that. You've never had a decent suit or a decent pair of shoes.
Let me finish. This is serious.
I'm serious.
So the two processes really should be looked upon as one now. If you're looking at an engineering facility, we always talk about, reducing cost per part, being as efficient as it possibly can. The old complete engineering manufacturing process, the inspection should be playing a bigger part than just the making of the part.
Sorry, I had to ask a question. How many times do you go to a machine shop and you see a dusty old CMM, for example, in the back? They never use them, do they? Or very rarely.
Let me explain what I've learned at GOM yesterday. So with what I've just tried to explain there, a lot of people look at manufacturing and they look at inspection as 2 separate entities. With GOM and not just the inspection of a part. So that's one part of their product. So inspecting that part in a very fast manner with the scanning of that part, automated scanning that can check a part within 30 microns. Now, I would guess that would be 90% of the parts that we see on the road that it would be able to check in a very fast way, in seconds. The programming to actually automate that scanning head to check that part, again, can be done so easily with a CAD model. Very, very, very easy. But the most powerful part, and this is where the actual inspection can actually improve the manufacturing process, is through the reports that then it can create. So now, in the past, inspection report. So for example, you're saving on setup, you're saving on programming time. If you were doing it on a tactile machine, you have to probe and set all your positions, and the setting of the checking takes ages. Then you check it, and to check it takes ages. So they're two massive savings. But then when you've got that data and it gives you a report, in the past you'd have sheets and sheets and sheets of different dimensions that it checks. With this new GOM Inspect, it'll kind of churn all that kind of data, and it'll give you a colour map of the part, and it'll show you've got green is correct, and red is incorrect, and blue it's the tolerance is the other way. But basically what it's doing is saying, right, that's where your problem is. You can quickly identify where the problem is and quickly correct it within your manufacturing process. But I've probably not explained it very well, but it is absolutely, it's a game changer.
Sorry, I drifted off there, Gio. No, I'm joking. But as you were talking about that, I was thinking, and that's, I know, don't say it's a first, but having that...
I could smell the wood burning.
Absolutely. Oh, anyway, having sheets of data, not boring, but having a picture where it's green, red or blue.
Yeah.
That, to me, a lot of people, very, very visual. That's why, videos, fantastic, brochures, yeah, okay, but people love a video, people love a picture, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah,
it is a game changer. And definitely a game changer.
The reverse engineering element as well. I was thinking
reverse engineering, but everything how it kind of it brings a synergy with the manufacturing, and it's something that needs to be looked upon as part of the manufacturing process, because it's no good making a part faster if you've got a backlog in inspection, or it's no good sending a part out that's incorrect.
You hear that all the time,
and it's all the time. So you go and spend £1 million on a new machine tool to save a second on the part, but then they're all piled up waiting to get through inspection.
Yep.
Or they're not, or you don't know where the fault is in that part, and your production is down because you can't find where the fault is. With this, you're completely eradicating all that, and if there is a fault, the GOM Inspect will tell you exactly where that fault is. You can identify it so much more easily.
Look, we won't even need to watch that video now, will we? we know.
I'll give you a green though.
It is absolutely.
I don't want to chivvy along, but I've got loads of stuff I want to say.
Okay, well, you fire away then, because we are running out of time. So
manufacturing levels, we do the MTD economic engineering indicator, the EEI, that is out soon. I don't want to give away the number, but the figures for the last 6 months all been positive, so find out soon if it's still positive. I'll give you a clue. It's positive. No, absolutely. Next, our friends at Peter at Apsley Engineering down south, they've got some fantastic machines. Myself and Lindsay visited there. They've got their Mitutoyo, let me get that correct. They've got a load of other machines. In fact, they've got the Robo Drill there and a Miano. But he sent me some figures through. He has got spindle time, 95% time it's been running at Mitutoyo. So it's the MAM, let me get this correct, 72-35. So 350 mil in the envelope, 72, no, not 72 pallets.
35 pallets.
35 pallets, thank you very much. But they load it up, and it's running, and 5 days. I mean, it's not 7 days a week; it's only 5 days a week. Because I do 95%. No, absolutely amazing.
That is something we talk about a lot, and I tell you what, it's the future of making your business profitable.
Any printing machine, is it?
Yeah. But whatever machine you've got, it's getting that efficiency up. It's getting it using tools like the factory whiz and things like that in order to be able to monitor. That's what this week's Swarf and Chips was about, actually, which is on the channel at Future Design Engineering. They've wired all their machines up to factory whiz, their Matsuras and their Hercos, and they can tell it. They can just look and go, my MAM machine's running at 90, 92, 95. The Hercos will be running less because they're just single table, single spindle machines, but they can still get them up to 60, 70% efficiency. And they do that by adding more vices, a fourth axis unit. They've even done things with their swarf control in order, and they've seen notable gains. They look week on week and go, oh, we got 2% this week. It becomes a bit like a... it comes almost like a hobby, trying to, we got 62% this week. And so, and we always talk about the VMC being a really not inefficient tool, but a tool that maybe well, you have a lot of spindle downtime for obvious reasons, but these companies, by using these tools, can get these machines, these more simple machines
Palletise them VMCs, palletise them, 0 point. That is the key. It's got to be.
A great phrase from, you talk about all these data in the greens and things like that. Great line from Lee Tricklebank, the master of automation. Data is the new oil. So they've got all these figures and they can see where the machines aren't being efficient. Being efficient is absolutely brilliant. I want to move on quickly. In fact, I'm looking forward to next week. I'm off to see Monard, who've got some nice new Doosan's, but Lindsay's going to SRD. Now, I don't know why she's going to SRD. I think you do. But I want to just quickly cover off. We went there a little while ago. Great story, because he was quoted for his part. I think it was like a top hat component. He quoted about £2 and bloke, not interested, mate. And he went back to him and said, what do you mean? That's really, really competitive. He said, I'm being quoted 20p for these and you're quoting me £2. But he bought a slider. It was a Citizen slider with a number of them he's got now. He was able to quote at about 20 pence. So just a great story. So some more to find out at SRD. Matsuras, I'm guessing?
Open Mind are going to look at the Open Mind software that they've recently purchased. So that's, but I'm sure they'll be able to take in other. Well, I know the guys there are really keen to get MTD in anyway, so they're going to do their level best, I'm sure, to promote what they're doing.
Nurture Precision just bought. I think they've just bought Open Mind. Correct me if I'm
not
absolutely
sure.
raving about some software.
Yes, you're right. They have. Yes.
I mean,
right.
Conrad's an absolute beast in terms of social media and things like that, and some of the stuff he makes.
He's brilliant
because he's got 2 SMEC machines from memory.
I think he's got 1 SMEC. He's got the DMG Mori, and he had a Leadwell as well, I believe. So, but he's growing pretty quickly, and he does. You talk about big cast donuts earlier, but he actually does provide donuts, doesn't he?
Does he?
When we go in. So Conrad, if you're listening to this, Joe's looking forward to his next trip to Bristol. I think
Looks like I'm going to Bristol on Monday.
I've got shout outs that we're not going to get time to actually do now, because we're going to have to wrap this one up just under 45 minutes. We do this every Friday. Join us at 6 o'clock on a Friday evening, where you'll find out everything that we've been up to in the week before, and also what we're going to be doing next week. I have got to say, so we're at Gemini Prototypes on Monday. You're at Monard Precision on Monday. We're at Goering on Tuesday. We're at Kuka on Wednesday and at Sandvik on Wednesday. Oracle Precision on Thursday. We are also at SRD in Bicester. And on Friday, I am going to Mill CNC to review a brand new Doosan Lynx machine, which I believe has just come off the water. And we're doing some work with Hexagon MI on Thursday too. So plenty coming up in the next week. And join us again same time next week to learn about what we picked up during that week and any other banter that we
hopefully I'll pick up next week, because I've been single now for a couple of months, mate.
Yeah.
No.
Last point from you.
That's my last part. That's my last part.
Gio, last point from you.
I think we're also doing the Visioner Technical Corners next week. Right, that's a brand new product launch from the studio, and that will blow people's minds.
Good stuff. Thanks for joining us. That's been MTD CNC on the road, uncut.